Reverb processors usually come with a variety of different types of reverb. Whether it's artificially generated with traditional algorithmic digital reverbs, or a sampled IR of a real acoustic space or device, there are several different flavors of reverb, emulating everything from real spaces to the classic mechanical reverb units from an earlier recording era. Now, while most of these can be used on any track, any instrument or vocal part, there are some cases where a certain type of reverb may be more effective for a particular track, sounding more appropriate and working better in the mix. Most algorithmic reverbs either offer controls to simulate these different reverb types, or presets of them for quick and easy access. Convolution reverbs, sampling reverbs, usually come with a large collection of sampled IRs of these different spaces and devices. You'll typically see a list of reverb options that include some or all of the following reverb types: room, hall, chamber, and sometimes distinctive larger spaces like church, along with mechanical reverb devices, plate, and spring. Some reverbs offer ambience as a separate reverb type. Others allow for this through their programming parameters. A quick word about that. Ambience is really just the first part of a reverberant sound field. After the initial reflection, there's a pattern of early reflections, followed by denser reflections that form the actual reverberation tail. The initial reflection suggests the overall size of the space, and the specific pattern of early reflections determines the character of the space: wide, narrow, high ceiling, boxy, etc. Without a long tail of the later dense reverberation, what you've got is ambience. Now, some of these reverb types can work better than others on some instruments and with some arrangements. For example, a shorter ambience-type reverb might work very well with a busy rhythmic tune, adding a sense of depth and space without cluttering up the mix with long tails of the later, denser reverberation.
I finally come to see who you really are. Somebody that never got that far.
Some acoustic spaces, like certain rooms and many halls, can be quite echoey within the reverb, and that might sound really good on vocals, which benefit from a sparse, open, echoey reverb effect.
Somebody that never got that far.
But that same reverb might not work very well with drums or percussive instruments. Those kinds of parts might benefit from a denser reverb type with a much smoother, more even tail. A plate would fit the bill nicely. Mechanical plate reverbs were suspended, flexible metal sheets with transducers attached at two ends to send the musical signal to simulate the plate into vibration and to pick up those reverb-like vibrations. Plates have a thick, bright, dense quality which enhances drums and percussion well, though they can still sound good on some vocals too. Probably the most generic and most generally useful reverb type will be labeled room. These will range from small to medium to large rooms, simulated or sampled, and usually offer the widest variety of acoustic spaces. This is especially obvious with convolution reverbs, where you can see the long lists of the different specific rooms that were sampled, sometimes with further information and even images to help you choose an appropriate space for a particular application. Some reverb types are more for special applications. Spring reverbs are the mechanical reverb devices you find in classic and modern guitar amps. They work like a plate, except instead of the metal sheet, they employ several springs or coils as the vibrating element. As guitarists all know, they have a boingy, slappy quality that's far from smooth or natural, but it is a classic reverb effect, and it can add some vibe to the right parts, especially clean guitar sounds. So while you could just use a generic room on everything, sometimes one particular space may not work as well for some tracks as it does for others. or there just may be a more appropriate or more vibey option that'll bring out the best in a certain part. The selection of reverb types typically available should provide a wide range of choices for matching the best reverb type to each musical part.